Hey y'all, I had to move. The sun moves during the year, and the closer we get to winter, it moves that away. And sitting in mom's chair for about 10 minutes, you can get a sun bath. So I enjoy it though because the sun is good for you. I will tell you this, if you are suffering from COVID, recovering from COVID, feel like you're never going to get over COVID, or just afraid of getting COVID, my best advice to you is get in the sun. Spend at least 30 minutes a day in the sun. The sun, you will get a dose of vitamin C that you cannot get from a pill. You can get vitamin D, but not near as good as the sun will give you. I think that's why one thing that saved me is every day I went outside and sat on the porch in the sun, and you will feel better. So if you are recovering, if you're having those headaches, put you a pair of sunglasses on. I didn't mean to say all that. I wanted to talk about, y'all know I'm on this weight loss challenge to myself, and the last 2.5 months I lost 20 pounds, and then since Thanksgiving I've put 8 back on. So we're back to soup for lunch. This is my tomato soup that I can. I know exactly what's in this jar. I know exactly what is not in this jar. I call it my tomato soup base because you can eat it just like this, and it's a tomato soup, and it has tomatoes and celery and onion and bell pepper and garlic in it, and very, very little salt. So when I open it up, if it needs a little more salt, I can add a little bit more. But I ate something this morning for breakfast that I normally, you know me, y'all seen my breakfast. But I've been seeing it online, and it is a chia pudding. I eat a lot of chia seeds. They're very good for your intestines. But you make what's called a chia pudding, and you take a cup of milk and a quarter of a cup of chia seeds. For you that want to correct me, 4 tablespoons is a quarter of a cup. Back to our regularly scheduled programming though. And you mix that up. You can put some honey in it if you want, or I put about a quarter of a teaspoon of vanilla in it, and then you let that sit in the refrigerator overnight, and when you get up in the morning you shake it real good, and it's kind of thick. The seeds get a coating on them that makes it kind of think of tapioca maybe. It's an odd texture to get used to, that's for sure. If you have texture issues, chances are you're not going to like this. So tomorrow I think I'm going to put some fruit and some granola in it, and maybe that'll mask that texture that took a little getting used to. But I found out about it while I was in Basic Foods. Folks, if I'm going to eat bread, it's going to have some flavor, not that puffed up flour and water mixture you buy from the store. Got to trying to find rye flour. I will order from Amazon if I can't find it anywhere else, but I would prefer to buy local to support our local businesses. Finally, I went to Basic Foods. Basic Foods has a very good line of rye flour. While I was there, I was in the back and found their bulk food that you buy by the pound. Love that. I do a lot of that at the Heb and Kroger. They have the bulk food at the big store. But I guess lost my train of thought. Anyway, so, but I'm fixing to make some bread. If I'm going to eat bread, if I'm going to allot those calories and carbohydrates to a bread, it's going to have some flavor in it. So either tonight or tomorrow I'm going to make pumpernickel bread. If you've never had a really good pumpernickel bread is more than just brown bread. It has, depends on what part of the world you're from. It has caraway seeds. It has, mine has caraway seeds, rye flour, just a little bit of coffee, and molasses in it. And it's a rich, deep, wonderful bread with just a little hint of the caraway seeds makes me think of pickle. That's the only, that's the flavor a little bit. But I also make a light rye. You can marble those two together, but I make a light rye bread that doesn't have the molasses in it. That is really good too. If you're having issues with gluten, before you allow someone to tell you you have a gluten allergy, you need to stay away from gluten. It is a real thing. I'm not diminishing it. It is a real thing. Gluten issues are real. What you have to realize is in prepackaged foods, they put it in there. In breads, used to, years ago when they started making bread, you added flour, water, yeast, salt, sugar, and maybe some type of fat like butter. That's what goes in bread. Well, not anymore. Commercial bread adds a lot of times more gluten than they add yeast. And the reason is they can get more yield out of that recipe because the gluten is what allows it to grow big and rise. So they can get a bigger loaf out of this recipe. Well, if you're eating that bread and you're eating prepackaged foods, for instance, Hamburger Helper, a lot of your canned sauces, if you're eating out a lot, because they put it in a lot of the prepackaged foods that restaurants sell, your body is in a gluten overload. You may not have a quote-unquote allergy to gluten as much as you're eating too much. It's kind of like sugar to a diabetic. So before you admit and allow the medical industry to tell you that you have this gluten intolerance, try not eating prepackaged foods and prepackaged breads and see how you feel. I mean it. There is a such thing as a gluten intolerance, and I'm not diminishing that. But I think a lot of people are being told you have gluten allergies. When you don't have a gluten allergy, you have too much gluten. So one of the reasons why I can a lot and I bake a lot, because I know exactly what's in this jar. I know these tomatoes came from Donna's farm out in Finette. I know the onions came from her. I did buy the celery, but I know what's in this jar. I know there's no flavor enhancers in this jar. I know there's no artificial coloring in this jar. There is tomatoes, celery, garlic, and onion in this jar. You don't need flavor enhancers. So I'm back on my eating plan again. Thanksgiving kind of throwed me all off. Whoa, my God. It's taken 2 weeks for me to get anywhere sort of normal back. That is just too much. Just too much. So, but I do think I'll go into 2021 weighing less than I weighed in 2019, which was my goal. I don't care if it's just a pound, which it'll be more than just a pound. But I don't care. I just wanted to weigh less in 2021 than I did in the beginning of 2020. I got a turkey gobbler. The more weight I lose, the more my gobbler shows. But, well, let me get this day going. Why I scheduled myself a 9 o'clock appointment, I'm not exactly sure. I know better than to do that. But I had my chia pudding this morning. I'm going to have tomato soup for lunch. and I'm going to have a very light dinner, which will probably be some kind of chicken and vegetable. Oh, I have fish. I have cod in the refrigerator. We're going to have cod. That's even better. I haven't had fish. And those of you that don't like salmon, there are lots of folks that, I'm not a salmon person, but I wanted to eat fish. You can get cod at any grocery store, frozen, and they pre-package them in individual things. I just love it. Pan seared real quick with a little lemon and butter, and it's fabulous. So if you're wanting to eat more fish and salmon's not your cup of tea, try cod. It's a white fish. It's a firm white fish. It's a good fish. It doesn't taste fishy. So we got to get back on track here. Anyway, I just love all of the inboxes I get from y'all listening to me ramble. Makes me not feel so much alone talking to y'all every morning. If you don't like it, change the station. Sarah didn't do my hair. It's poofy. When Sarah does my hair, it's not poofy. It just lays and it bounces and I can do this and it's gorgeous. Anyway, y'all have a great day. If you've not been in the sun yet, step out your door and stand in the sun for about 5 minutes. Your body will appreciate it. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day.